Ladies, gentlemen, gentle people, gentle gender fluids, gentle undecideds, whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever you are, welcome to episode 33 of Apologies Up Front. I'm your host, former, I can't really think of anything for legal reasons though. You'll have to call me Keego. And I'm coming to you live from Fibsborough. I've just done a gig for beautiful Alex J. Byrne. How do I get out of this car park is the main question. I think I've gone the wrong way. Let me just reverse here while I'm talking to you, although I think Tesco have blocked the entire thing. So this is not going as I had planned. It's not going smoothly, but I'm just out of a gig, a beautiful gig, a beautiful, crazy gig. You know, when things happen and kind of, they kind of appear to be just everything is going wrong. And then those are the moments that end up being kind of magical. That's happened tonight. So Alex, poor Alex, is sick. He's been very, very sick. And so he sent me a message earlier on today as I was kind of prepping for the gig and kind of thinking, okay, I can try some new stuff for the big show. That I apologize if you can hear the directions, but I can only go when there's a woman shouting at me. Um, Grant, sorry. So yeah, Alex was saying he's sick. Could I MC? And I was kind of going. I don't really know if I've actually hosted before. I know I've kind of pretended to host before, but I don't know if I've actually been an MC before. So I was like, all right, sure. Look, why not? Let's run naked down this street. So Alex was at home sick. We had Elizabeth Redmond on, who's a savage. Go see her wherever she's on. We had William Callahan on from Newry. He is absolutely amazing. Some of his jokes were so good, it made me annoyed at trying to be a comedian. That's how good he was. We had Mustafa Saeed, who I've spoken to online. Like it's this kind of COVID relationship, I guess it's called. Like we'd talk, go back and forth over COVID. I think we did a couple of online gigs. He's I knew he was brilliant. Kind of now. Sorry, this is telling me to turn right, and there's no right turn. What are you telling me to do? All right, I don't know if you can hear this, but I don't. Sorry, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going. Right, let's just keep going. So yeah, Mustafa, if you can't hear her, that makes me sound like even more of a psycho, which would be hilarious. So yeah, Mustafa Saeed just blew my tits off. Absolutely amazing. Just brilliant. Worth it's the best thing I can say about other comedians is that I would pay money to go and see them. Because you know yourselves, there's a lot of comedians who you wouldn't pay. You'd sit through a free show or an open mic. But every single person tonight, so Elizabeth Redmond, William Callan, Mustafa Saeed, and then we have Bill Conroy on afterwards. Fuck, unbelievable. And then Saoirse Smith finished it off. Amazing. And it's kind of, once I set the table as a host, and I don't know what being a host is because this is the first time I've properly done it, um, the guys just ran with it. Because I've been at gigs where hosts don't do that. They don't kind of get everyone riled up and happy and all that. So I kind of knew my only job was to try and make everyone relatively happy to be there. So we did that. But everyone was like, when you have a long week, it's been a long week, started a new job, all that sort of nonsense, real life nonsense. And you kind of get tired because I'm tired pretending to be nice to new work colleagues because they're new. You know yourselves. I'm the same. So that was tiring. So I showed up here in Fibsborough and I was kind of going, Genie Mac, I don't know if I have the energy. Got going. The audience were brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Doyle's Corner in Fibsborough is brilliant. And then Elizabeth came on. did her thing, and her thing is something you need to pay for. Um, I actually kind of got what's the word? Is it socialist or communist? I don't know. I've been hitting the head many times. But as I was watching these brilliant comedians, I was kind of going, they should be like paid a lot of money for what they're doing. I don't know if there were NAs I was having in there, I promise. But it's when things when you see people are just they spent so much time, so much effort. They haven't stolen a joke. Yes, that is a shot. But they've worked really hard. They've honed their character, what they're talking about, why they're talking about it, all that sort of stuff. And they're just so good. Like everyone tonight was so good. And you kind of go, these guys should be, and girls, and I'm not assuming anyone's gender, should be getting paid money for this, you know? I'm sure they are. I'm sure Alex is paying them thousands. But I mean, wherever they go. Because it's interesting, I remember being in a band, and once you got to a certain level as a band, you got paid. And like the band I was in was brilliant, obviously. But not we were good. We had a charted single, but we were actually quite good. But we started getting paid pretty early because we would go on and you'd kind of get through the music version of the open mic circuit pretty quickly. You know what I mean? So I realize I sound weird, but it's because my lower left tooth is pointing in the wrong direction. Um, you didn't need to hear that. It's very, very painful. But you get what I mean. But whereas with comedy, people just assume you'll do it for free forever. So like anyone who's on a gig of mine, I will give them something. But every gig you will go to, I don't know what it's like outside of Dublin, but nearly every gig, people don't get paid, which is just shocking. But anyway, Alex runs a great show in Doyle's Corner. I think it's every month or every other month. It is brilliant. It is worth your time. It's a great boozer, great pub, and Jeannie Mac tonight was one of those nights where you get really excited again, as you can tell. Like I even as a host, I was throwing in new stuff, and it was kind of the vibe was there to do it. It was beautiful. But anyway, the most important thing: follow all the comedians to the point where they don't have to work at anything other than trying to make you laugh. But yeah, I'm trying to think of what else will be going on. Oh, Jesus Christ! Someone cycled in front of me. When the GPS says slightly left, I don't know what that means. We'll find out in a second. Um, so yeah, I think we're going slightly left. But yeah, it's sorry guys. I I forgot how insane traffic is. So yeah, what was I saying to you? Oh yeah, I got attacked by the trans police. It's as hilarious as it sounds. So kind of, it's an ongoing story that I've been talking to you guys about. So if we go back a couple of weeks, um, I was saying I am pro free speech. I am anti censorship, and this was kind of correlated with something that Graham Linehan from Father Ted, Greatest Show in the World, he said something or many things, 100 things. I don't know. But I was compared to him, J.K. Rowling, and there was someone else. I can't remember who. Doesn't matter. For saying just all I said. I didn't even get into who should use what toilet, who should use what sport, all of that, all of that sort of stuff. I didn't even get into that. All I said was free speech is important. Now, obviously, with that, you're free to say it. You're not free to backlash from backlash or consequence, obviously. But my point is the freedom to say it, freedom to live your life the way you want to live your life, freedom to talk, say whatever you want. That's that's my hill to die on. Now, when I say that, that doesn't mean that I agree with everything every human being has ever said ever. The problem is you have to say that every time. You kind of go, well, I like free speech, but I don't agree with A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You know what I mean? And that's how stupid the whole thing gets. You know, like just to speak about myself. Okay, I won't speak about anybody else. I'll just speak about myself. Like I said, I believe in free speech. Okay, so this is coming from a place of someone who would be an ally to the LGBTQ whoever plus. I think they've added IA onto that. I don't know. That's not me trying to be silly. That's me genuinely, as a 42-year-old, I have no idea. But an ally to that situation, that cause, everything like that, I will support every single one of you listening. I love and respect you all, obviously, but I have to say that every time. My history will suggest that to you. I would also just suggest that if people are saying it's a cover up, it's a huge amount of effort to put into a cover up from a lazy person. But, I digress, but I'm just pointing that out. So, back to the trans police. So, I had said free speech, making clear that I don't agree with everything everyone has ever said ever. But for me, I want you to live the life you want to live, how you want to live it, and I want you to be able to call me whatever name you want. And that's kind of how I want to live my life. And that's fine. If other people want to live in Korea or whatever, that's cool. That's absolutely fine. None of my business. But that's how I want to live my life. So I got in trouble for saying that because people are saying, well, some people shouldn't have free speech. That's basically what they're saying. They're saying free speech is good, but it's only if it's the free speech we want to hear. Free speech is dangerous. We know that. Now, part of the problem is the people who say this mad stuff don't have an audience outside of Twitter. You find this when Gemma O'Doherty has a protest, 7 people show up. When Graham Linehan does a gig at the Edinburgh Fringe, I think it was 11 people showed up. So people confuse Twitter with real life, which I think is a separate issue, but it's important. But he had 11 people who were willing to show up to hear what he said, probably because they wanted him to say "feck arse girls." So, but I'm the problem. So I was going through my what you call those things, notifications on Twitter. So I have it set up so that only people who I follow, I will get a little bell notification on, because I don't think there's any need to spend too much time on Twitter. So I will log in for a little bit and then jump out. I really should delete the app, but it's kind of good for spreading awareness of gigs, which we'll talk about in a second. But Twitter Twitter's horrible. It makes people horrible. It makes people say things. Certainly, people have said things to me that they would never and have never said to me in their lives. Now, whether they would not say it because they think I'm going to kick them in the head, maybe the kick in the head is their conscience. Because I'm not going to kick anyone in the head. You know what I mean? You can punch me all you want. Now, you got to remember my family's separate story. We've spoken about that before. As you are all the same. But you can kick and punch me all you want. Mother Nature's done that to me. But they kind of say this on Twitter that they wouldn't say in real life. Because I do feel that they think there's a certain amount of grandstanding happening on Twitter. On all sides. Before people say anything. But anyway, back to the trans police. So, there was a message, a response to free speech, all that sort of nonsense. Your trans friends are watching, and we are talking, and we don't like it. Something alluding to that, something like that. I'm paraphrasing now because I can't remember, but it was your trans friends are watching, and we are talking. That kind of was the vibe. And I could have really gone in there. You know what I mean? You know when you choose to have a fight with someone, or you choose not to. I chose not to. Now maybe that's the wrong call. Maybe I should put a vote up with this. Someone says to you, let me just turn here. Someone says to you, all of us are talking. They're not talking to you. No one has talked to me about it. About anything I've said. Sorry, let me turn this off. I think I know where I am. So no one has spoken to me about anything I've said, or kind of as we try to say, and it's not like a throwaway comment. If I'm incorrect or need education, I'm always happy to get it. I know I'm not right at least 50% of the time. But I say this, and if someone wants my phone number, they can get it. Ireland, Dublin, certainly comedy is tiny. If you want to speak to me, if you feel strong enough, you can actually have that conversation, but they don't. It's a grandstanding thing. But my trans friends are talking, but they're not talking to me. So it's an interesting thing. Like, this conversation can't really happen. This rant can't really happen because there are certain things you're not allowed to say. And I'm not going to go on and say things I shouldn't say. I'm only going to tell you what the story is. So, like, if so, I told you a couple of shows back, 4 or 5 shows back, I booked a comedian who um, who is brilliant. I don't need to know the names. The names aren't important, as we said then. But I booked a comedian for a Wicklow Pride festival because we had done a fundraiser for Wicklow Pride. It was brilliant. We had a great mix of kind of men, women, straight, um, they, thems, everything. All of it was there, but the whole point was we're all telling different stories, but they're all great stories. And everyone was in the same room. Everyone was enjoying it, and it was brilliant. But there was a comedian on there, a male comedian, male comedian, who had made a comment online in relation to another comedian being. I don't want to get too inside baseball here. That's an American term. I'm sorry. I don't want to get too inside plowing championship. I made myself laugh. I don't want to get too stupid about it. So basically, there's a club where something may or may not have happened, and people will not book you if you've played for this club. That something may or may not have happened. No one actually knows what happened, and it's gotten to the stage where people are saying certain things definitely happened when they have no idea. So that you know yourselves, the fish is this big now at this stage. Anyway, one of my favorite comedians. Um, Again, I'm not going to go into detail because it would give it away. One of my favorite female comedians played down there, and then was told they're not being booked in this venue in town um, because they played in this other venue. And A, B, C, D, E, F, G happened. Blah blah blah. So this has happened to tens of comedians where they kind of get the emails stop coming back and all that sort of thing, even after you work there. But this female comedian had the biggest Leroy idea, the whole lot of us posted about it. And then all of a sudden, everything comes out in public, which is great because then people are left looking at their own behavior. But a comment in that thread was, again, I'm paraphrasing because I do not remember. And as always, if I get this wrong, get in touch. Um, I thought this comment is, I thought toxic masculinity didn't exist, but now I see it happening in this comedy club. And then there was more there, but I don't remember. Basically saying you're bullying this comedian. There's more to it, but I don't want to go into it because that will give it away. It's not my business. And that's what the comment was about. But this trans comedian made it all about them. And it wasn't about them or being trans or their journey, which is brilliant and brave and always supported, even though everyone who listens to this will forget the last 14 words I just said. It wasn't about that. It was about their behavior. I will hold everybody up to the same behavior. And I'll hold myself up. There are times where I've been an absolute bell end. Some people listening to this will have been on the receiving end of not my bell, my prick behavior. I don't mean prick as in legit prick. I mean being an absolute prick. But I will hold other people up to the same standards I hold myself up to. If I fall short, I try and apologize. If other people fall short, they, and it's certainly in the trans community in this instance, when they run this club in town, they kind of try and brush it away to the point where now that rule has disappeared. But they're not telling everyone the rules disappeared. They're just telling the people they like. So this is, I grew up wrestling in the wrestling community. And, back in the day, the missus back then would laugh at me while talking to other wrestlers about what's going on, saying we are children. Why can't we just talk to each other? Why are we so immature? And I grew up, I'm 42, and I'm thinking the people I've met are smart, intelligent people, and the comedy scene is a beautiful thing. And by and large, for the most part, it is. 98% of the people I've met are amazing, are brilliant comedians, are worth twice whatever you pay to go and see them. And I'll make sure I tell them that. But there is a couple of percentage that are ruining it for everybody, whether they're stealing jokes, which is, the people who've stolen stuff, or the person who has stolen stuff from me, they've stolen stuff that I washed away 100 years ago, but they're still using it now. So I'm not worried about that. But you can't steal. It's not like a cover version of a song. It's more than that. And then this whole area that I don't know. And listen, you guys know that. I don't know anything. But like I worked a improv, beautiful Queens and Jokers night in the International. If you ever see that, you have to go. It's run by Emily Bradley, who is brilliant. So a load of us comedians showed up. We had no idea what was going to happen. And so we were given a law. Sorry, I'm getting a tangent, but this is really important because it's a great show that you should go to. And it's a Sunday in the Inter, which is great. In the basement, which is where the real magic is, not the pompous upstairs. But Queens and Jokers, I think it's called. So what happens is you're asked ahead of time, what law should you bring in to existence? My law was we should ban Jaeger bombs after midnight because nothing happens. Nothing good happens after midnight if we've had a Jaeger bomb. I've woken up beside so many dogs after Jaeger bombs at midnight. 2 Labradors, a pit bull, and a Doberman Pinscher. It was hilarious at the time. My tooth is making me talk weird. But the second part of it was Emily will come up with a picture and you have to speak to the audience. And it was a jam-packed room. You have to speak to the audience about what's in the picture, why it should exist, and that it should be passed into law. And so, but it's literally not as you're walking up, but it's kind of a minute before you walk up. And it was just, it was so much fun. So, there was Daniel Stevens, Paddy Seary, Joe Lanzalotta, Christina was there. So brain's gone, I can't remember who else. But it was brilliant. And then you kind of have a full-on improv for the last third of it. It was so much fun. My point is, if there is a point, at that gig, we had trans people, we had gay people, we had gender fluid people, we had straight people, we had 42-year-olds, we had everyone there. And everyone had the time of their life. Now, I know it's Sunday, part of it is Sunday, and you kind of really don't want to let the weekend go. My point is, we're all the same. We are all, when it comes down to it, when it comes down to the DNA, we want each other to do well. There's jealousy is going to be there, all that sort of stuff. Whenever you're doing a creative endeavor or work endeavor, whatever it is, someone's running across the road, we should be allowed to knock them down. But that night and tonight, even though tonight was mostly straight people, last week in the International, everyone was just there. Do you know what I mean? We're not actually present for a lot of things. We're thinking about the next thing. And I'm beyond guilty of that. The Sunday fair is the example, but even starting a new job, you're thinking about planning ahead and all that, instead of kind of just sitting in the moment and and building a relationship with whoever you work with, and or whatever. I've been trying over the last 2 weeks to try and just sit in this moment, because I can't, whatever navigates off this, I can't control. For example, the conversation, the free speech conversation, I lost people who I genuinely, I gen, like, when you really like someone completely on a platonic level, but you actually really like them and want them to do well, like genuinely, that person's gone now based on me saying free speech. That's what Twitter does. So, as always, if there's anything you need me to correct or understand, I think is the key, get in touch. Keegolaughs@gmail.com. I've been ranting a wee bit, guys. I don't know why. I'm in a buzzy mood. I'm in a great mood after a good gig. I really, I am actually on cloud nine right now. And I get upset when I don't get on with people. Not really important. But the big news. So tickets are now live for October the 13th, Friday the 13th. I'm going to unleash my full-on show onto the world. Tickets are starting to fly out now, which is great. But I would love you to come along. So, Keegolaughs.com. You'll find all the ticket details there. It is a Friday. There's a lot of comedy on a Friday, so you can see more than my show. We've got the King of Bray, Sean Begley, is going to be the MC. I'm just trying to figure out a support act. I want an absolute savage who will kind of really push me. Like, I don't want a jobber, so I'm trying to work that out, because there's so many to choose from. But it's in Crowbar and Temple Bar, the kind of the lounge area off the Button Factory, which is a venue I've gone to see some of my favorite bands in. So it's a small room, 40 seats. We'll jam it up. We're getting it recorded. Excuse me, and this is it. You know what I mean? Like, some people think if you're 3 years in the game, you've no right to do your own show. If 2 years of that is COVID, it's not a real time. Um, some people are genuinely offended. Like, they're kind of a decade in, they haven't done their own show. I I haven't been watching David Goggins or anything. I'm just, because I'm old starting this, I'm just cutting through all the bullshit. I'm kind of going, this is it. Let's stick it out there. So the way I've said it to people is, you can either come along and say, I told you so, he wasn't ready, or you can go, I actually enjoyed that in spite of myself. And I'm at the stage now where I feel it's going to be the latter. But I want you to come along and just see. So if you're someone from outside of Dublin, plan ahead, get a hostel, get an Airbnb, get something like that, make a trip. It'd be great to see you. Crowbar is a great spot. And listen, it's a good show. It's all about my 1981 brain in 2023. I confuse easy. That's what it's called. I was going to call it, I'm bald, I'm stupid, and I have no social skills. But I didn't want everyone else to feel that good about themselves. But I promise you will feel more intelligent after sitting through the show. Come along, basically is what I'm saying. I'm trying to think what else has been going on. It's just, I've had all that nervous energy of starting a new job that's been in my head. So I kind of haven't really been thinking about too much. I've just been trying to be nice to strangers. A good weekend coming up ahead now. We're heading over to my sister's house tomorrow, and a lot of the cousins are coming over. And we're at the stage, when you grow up, if you have cousins who are older who used to babysit, but you kind of hit the age of, you get like past the age of knacker drinking, you're kind of into grown-up drinking, which is basically the same thing, just indoors. We're kind of at that stage now, which makes conversation much easier. So it's great. We're all on the same level now, which is great stuff. So that's happening tomorrow, and then on Sunday, we've got a lot of mates coming over for a barbecue because apparently the sun's going to be out. So it's going to be great. But I'm just trying to think. I've been ranting at you because I'm driving, and I don't mean it to be a rant, but like this is me. You know, I'll make apologies for a lot of it, but I'm stuck with it. This is, and it's just a little bit upsetting is the wrong term because it's not real. Twitter's not real. It's just I thought people knew better. Like in terms of, I didn't think I've got to watch my phrasing because I don't want. I actually genuinely don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but I always thought people knew better. But Twitter is like the gang mentality. Like if you're in an airport and one person just stands in front of something, someone will stand behind them. Next person, and a queue will form. That's how mad we are. But like at the end of the day, as an old man, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel that's genuine. That's genuine from me to you, and I feel that's something we can all take on board. Not that I know anything, but I mean, like you, for example, whoever's listening to this, if I know you, I'm sure I respect you. If we are friends, that's a definite. But if I don't know you and I'm saying something that really is the opposite end of the thought spectrum that you live on, it doesn't matter. Like, this is the problem with social media and all that sort of bullshit. And I'm on it, and it's terrible. I feel myself getting worse as a human. My opinion means nothing to anyone outside of my family, and it shouldn't mean anything. Sorry, friends and family. It shouldn't mean anything. But if any of my friends hear me say something that doesn't quite gel with what they think, that's when conversations would happen. Should. My tooth is pointing in the wrong direction. Um, this hasn't really been a comedy podcast today. Like, I'll throw it out. Like, if I'm going insane, now we know I'm going insane, so I need a different phrase. If I'm going at this completely the wrong way, when I say free speech is important, with the pluses and minuses of that, and free speech is not free from reaction, but I'm just talking about speaking freely, living freely. That is that not who we are? Now I'm not talking about like, and kind of the reaction I got was, well, trans people get attacked on the street all the time, and listen, that's horrific, but that's the exception. That is not the rule. But when I say that, that doesn't mean that the attack is not important. Whoever attacks a trans person or any person, but a trans person, should be put in jail. Zero tolerance. But that's not the rule. So if any corrections are needed, if you have my number, use it. If you have my number, your opinion, I will genuinely listen. If you don't, Keegolaughs@gmail.com. It might take a couple of reads for me to get through it. Because like I've been getting a lot of emails on it over the last few weeks because it's a delicate topic. And people are like, a lot of people are saying they agree, but you can't say it. I said, okay, that's fine. That's do what you want. And then there are people who would disagree. So when I say free speech, they would talk about free speech is hurtful, which it can be. Absolutely, it can be. But there is a funny joke. Whoever says words hurt has never been kicked in the dick. But that's a funny joke. This is a serious topic. So words do hurt. But if we cancel, or cancel's the wrong word because canceling isn't real, if we say suddenly certain phrases, language, turns of phrase are illegal, like this hate speech bill they're talking about, that's North Korea. That's you taking offense. I don't want to live in that world. Again, I'm lucky because I'm a straight white male. I won't have to run into the same issues as if I was a trans person. And obviously, as always, even though I have to say it all the time, with respect and love, I support my trans brothers and sisters. But I don't support to the point where certain sectors, whether it's them or whether it's someone in the church or whether it's feminists, whether it's, toxic masculinity, I think I've covered everything. Racists, all these sort of people. Everyone should be allowed to say what they want to say because it's just their opinion. If they're just saying things to wind people up, then it's a phone show. Then it's like lunchtime live or any sort of that nonsense. That doesn't count. If you're expressing your opinion honestly, without trying to hurt someone, that's fine. And I don't understand what the problem is with that. But please correct me if I'm wrong. Again, this isn't really a comedy podcast. I'm trying to think of something funny to finish on. Because we're kind of, what time is it now? Friday, 20 past 11. I'm really looking forward to this weekend. I'm so tired. I kind of think, why do we work? Why do we need to work? Oh, it's because we've got mortgages that are going to ruin us for the rest of our lives. And, anyway, I don't know what I'm trying to say, guys. This really has been a therapy session. I do appreciate you because therapy is quite expensive. I did do the look, cards on the table. I do the BetterHelp thing because I don't want to actually sit in front of someone. I did that when I was growing up. And it kind of, once a month isn't enough, really, if you want to clear your mind or clean your mind or kind of line things up or try and understand. But that's all I can afford. Because I'd rather put electricity in the house than put electricity in my brain. Um, but I do think that's a weird thing. That's like, I was about to say that's a mad thing, like, but it's not. It's like, well, it kind of is. If we go back to our caveman days, hunter gatherers, go without sacrifice, all that sort of bullshit. Everyone sacrifices now, though. That's the thing. It's not just the fellas. All parents are working. All parents are paying childcare, mortgages, all that sort of stuff. And there is no light at the end of the tunnel. It's not like you hit 65 and you go, I'll be fine on the pension. The pensions we're paying into now, they may not exist when we're 65. And listen, for me, it's not that far away. But I'm hitting Bray now. Okay, I'm hitting Bray. So let's get slightly lighthearted. I just want to say, Bray is the greatest town in the world. I know some of you might be from Drimna, Dalkey, Cork, all sorts of places. But Bray is the best. If you want coffee, we have 100 coffee shops. If you want beer and booze and wine and gin, fancy stuff, we've got thousands of them. And then if you want to make a bad decision and get a tattoo, we have hundreds of tattoo parlors where you can make a bad decision based on all the booze you've just drank in all our beautiful bars. They don't tell you that in the tourist book. So you come down to Bray, have a few pints, go to the Martello, and Jeremy Dixon will be DJing on a Friday. Jeremy Dixon from The Phone Show, which got me through secondary school. He'll play you a song. You'll meet a young fella, young whatever you're after. And you'll think, I want to tattoo this person's name on my body. Because I've fallen in love, and this is real. This isn't the other fake love where it's all alcohol and juice. This is real love. Nothing to do with the Zambuca and the Jaeger bombs. This is true love. I want to get a tattoo. In Bray, you can get anything you want tattooed on your body. I don't know what else we can offer you. But let's finish like this, with respect and love. Let's hug those we love. Let's tolerate those we don't. And let's always walk into Saturday wearing tight jeans.